G'day. Qantas Business Class. There are differences between the domestic product and the international. And in this video, you're going to find out what they are as I travel from Perth to Sydney and then on to Manila. It's 9:16 a.m. and my journey to Manila starts now. It's 9:55 and we're just about to check in here in what is a very dimly lit section of the airport. Now, if you're travelling economy, you'll be checking your own luggage here on these machines and putting it onto the belt. But if you go business, you check in with a staff member. Through security at 11 past 10 and my bag was flagged, only because there's quite a lot in there and they need to give it a second look. But they were quick and polite. Oh, and it's not often I get asked for a selfie in the lounge, but that's what's happening today. Thanks, Kerry. Kerry's a good friend. And if you could clear out an entire section, that'd be great.
Certainly, of course. Oh, Rob, this is Kim and
Hello, Rob.
I'm Rob. Lovely to meet you.
manager of the lounge.
Now, unfortunately, it's before midday, so we can't get a pizza, but there are plenty of other options here for you. Now, there is a bar down the back here, but unfortunately, it's not open until midday. But you can get a coffee or a tea up the front. Well, I'm delighted to say that they fired up the pizza oven just before we left, so I had a lovely ham and cheese pizza. Now it's off to the gate. I'm safely on board in seat 1F, and I must say that I've got an interesting passenger next to me. Tonya, who's joining me on this first leg of the trip and the second one to Manila. So let me tell you a bit about this aircraft. It's an A330. It's just shy of 22 years of age, 28 seats in business class in a 1-2-1 configuration. Now I've got seat 1F and this has magnificent legroom down here. Now, if you have the choice, this is by far and away the choice seat here if you're looking to spread out. This is a Thompson Vantage XL suite. I think the first one was put in about 10 or so years ago. It's by no means the greatest business class seat, especially if you get one of the seats behind me. The storage-wise, there's a bin down here to my left. This area here too is good for your laptop or your iPad, phones. There's in-seat power and it suits any plug that you might have. There's a USB socket and right next to it the headphone socket. This is the controls for this seat. It goes fully lie flat or anywhere in between. Screen-wise, this is what we've got. It's adequate. And there is a literature pouch over to my right. And while this screen is a touch screen, you can also use this little remote control in there to change your entertainment options or even play games using the buttons on the back. Doors are now closing, so I better get ready for takeoff and I'll talk to you in a few minutes' time. First up, we're on the bubbly. This is Lois by the Lane. A Blanc de Blanc, fruity, very cold, which is great. This is not the same offering that we'll get tomorrow on the Manila flight. One disappointing feature about this seat is that this doesn't go down, and it can't go down because it's got all of this infrastructure on it. But on some airlines, you have a divider that when you're sitting with your partner, it goes down and allows you to chat. But in order for me to chat to Tonya, I have to stick my head around the corner or up over the top. Well, that's lunch anyway, and I gave that a 7 out of 10 for the beef. The salad I had a little bit of. The cheese was beautiful, as was the balsamic and oil. And Qantas makes a real effort to use Australian produce wherever possible, but this one's not Australian, but it's bloody tasty. And get this, the blanket that we get is made from 29 plastic bottles. And finally, we have a Maggie Beer ice cream, which is delightful. One thing I love about Qantas's in-flight entertainment system is that you can actually see the passengers' rating of the movie and the critics. And the one I watched, One Life, 4.5 out of 5 for both. Well, that's one of the two flights down, and a good flight. How does it stack up against international? Well, I'm going to tell you tomorrow, but now it's to collect our luggage and then check into an airport hotel, have dinner with some family, and then get a good night's rest. Like so many places, you have to check in yourself because there are a few staff around, but this is just for an overnight stay, and it is 150 metres to the international airport. This is a nice mid-sized room, colourful. I think pretty good value. What was it, 220? 220 Aussie a night, which is about 150 US. And that includes breakfast. And a nice view over the Sydney airport. It's 9:30 a.m. and now it's off to the international airport for our flight to Manila. But just one thing, with the air conditioning, when you get into this room, it's set at 25 and you can't change it unless you ring down to reception and ask them to put it down to 19 or 20, as we did. But if you press any of these buttons during the night, it goes back to 25 and you have to ring them again, as we found out twice. Well, there is a separate check-in area for business class passengers with some black carpet, whereas everywhere else in this terminal is just polished tiles. It's 10:30 a.m. and we've just sat down for breakfast/lunch here in the Qantas First Class Lounge. This lounge is the best lounge in the country without a doubt. It's big, it has its own kitchen, there's a little business centre, there's those lovely readouts for your flights, the old ones that cycle through. A great bar, good selection of beer, wines and soft drinks. But you need to be a Platinum or Platinum 1 member if you're flying business class to use this lounge, or be flying first class. And don't forget there's a spa, and every passenger in here is allowed one treatment down there free of charge. So this is an obvious step up from the Perth lounge, but it's not open to all business class passengers. Of course, the Perth lounge you saw earlier in this video is for domestic travel, whereas this one is for international. And it has a beautiful view out over the runways and whatever that area is called there where all the planes pull up. So I had for breakfast 3 poached eggs on Vegemite toast, and now for lunch I'm going through their spring menu, but doesn't have any steak on there, which is disappointing because when you go to Emirates First Class Lounge in Dubai, they have a beautiful Wagyu steak that they will cook for you, and it is right up there in terms of quality. But today I might just settle for the grass-fed beef cheeseburger. Well, the cheeseburger was good. I gave that 7.9 out of 10. And next up we're going to share some salt and pepper squid, which will be excellent as we sit here and have the most amazing view of planes coming and going at a tremendous rate. And champagne-wise, they're serving Lalier RO19, which is 95 Aussie dollars, so 62 US-ish, and is more expensive than Moet, or Moe, if that's how you say it. Well, we're off now through gate 53 on board this 20-and-a-half-year-old A330, exactly the same cabin as the aircraft we came over on.
How are you, sir? Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. We're straight ahead, turn left.
Safely on board now, and on my seat waiting for me is a blanket, exactly the same blanket as I had on the domestic, but we get a mattress, even though this is a daytime flight, and this adds a few millimetres of extra comfort to the seat, which is not leather like the domestic seat. This is a cloth fabric, and it appears to have a bit more sponginess to it. Is there an amenities kit? Yes, we have one. This will be very ordinary. Socks, 3 potions, a toothbrush and an eye mask, and some earplugs. Uninspiring, but consistent. Hello.
Sorry to interrupt.
Just a water's good for me.
Yeah, I'll bring that back.
Thank you. Now we've been offered a take-off drink. Tanya's had a champagne, and I've got myself a water. And here is our menu for today, which we didn't get on the domestic. And if I put my glasses on, I can tell you what is on the menu today. Snapper, chicken, beef fillet. Now I'm in seat 3K, and the odd number seats on this side of the plane have the big armrest on the window side. The footwell here is bigger than most business class areas for your feet, but not as good as yesterday's seat E and F in row 1. And the other thing with the seat that's nearest the window is you get a lot longer bench top here. 2K has a shorter bench because you've got to be able to get through between the seat in front and this edge of the bench. Lifted off at just after 2 p.m, that's about half an hour behind schedule. Headed out over the water, and we're now en route to Manila, a journey of around 8 hours. So we've been up in the air for about 15 minutes, and already the crew are taking our lunch orders. Now that's what you don't get domestically. Domestically, they just bring the trolley down, and at that point in the aisle they say, which of these 2 or 3 options would you like? Here, you order from the menu, they take away your choice, and then prepare the meals in the galley. What did I order? You're probably asking. Well, I ordered the steak and some buffalo mozzarella to start. I've just got changed into something more comfortable, and when I've come back I've set up my bed, which was very easy to do, and I just realised that the armrest on the aisle goes down, and I was always quite critical of that being restrictive, but I've just discovered something new about this seat, so that puts it up a notch for me, definitely. We're about 30 minutes away from landing, and food-wise on that flight I started off with burrata, then a steak that was just way overdone, 6.5 out of 10, but the pumpkin was exceptional, and then finished it off with an ice cream sandwich. Well, then I had a pre-arrival into Manila snack of a bacon, lettuce, tomato sandwich, which was exceptional, and that was probably the standout of the food here. Now, going into Manila, there is some paperwork and some online stuff that we have to fill in, plus we have to go through the red channel, which means they're probably going to go through my photo gear because I've got all my stuff for the Austin race because I'm going directly there, so hopefully I have no dramas, but I imagine they'll ask a few questions. Right, we're off, and already we can feel the warmth of Manila. It's about 30 degrees outside, and we landed at just past 7. I think it's about 7:30 now, and this is our entry into the country of the Philippines. I'm Mr. Illman.
Good evening, Mr. Illman.
Are you with us? Are you mine?
I'm Michael. Nice to meet you,
Hello.
sir.
You're Mr. Kim Illman?
I am, and this is my wife, Tonya.
Alright, sir.
Getting through customs was easy. There was no questions asked, and these guys are here to meet us, so they're bringing a car around. Obviously they've got a number of guests checking in, and it's pleasant out here. There is foreign exchange. Maybe I should go and see what they're going to give us. I'm told we're better off changing their money out here at the airport, and I'm getting 37.5 pesos for every Australian dollar, but if you're a US citizen you'll get 56.5, and there must be about 7 or 8 different money changes out here, so it's pretty competitive, and our guide said don't do it in city, you're better off out here. Very similar feel temperature wise as Singapore, and our car's waiting for us, which is nice. It was about 35 minutes to get here. Foyer is gorgeous, and we're being taken straight to our room, which I love. No having to stand over there at the counter. Yeah, metal detectors to get in, and plenty of staff out there to help us. So a good start. Well, good people, this is the Premier Suite, well, one of them, I'm sure they have many, at the Shangri-La Hotel, and it is something special. Spacious with some lovely welcome gifts out here, some delightful treats. There's a bar here that we can help ourselves to, plenty of water, a beautiful view out over the local area, and just so much room out here in the living area. But in the bedroom, it's equally as spectacular, with a marvellous bathroom and a big bed. This is going to be a lovely 6 nights here in the middle of Manila. Well, I must say it's great to be here in this beautiful hotel in what is, I think, going to be a pretty interesting city. And getting back to the Qantas side of things, the differences between business class on the domestic flights and the international flights, you can see it's not too different for those 2 flights that I took. But bear in mind that the shorter flights from Sydney to Melbourne, say, which is an hour and 20 minutes, that's a completely different product, more in line with what you would get in the US. But if you're looking at the Perth-Sydney, Perth-Melbourne flights, which are 4 and 5 hours, that product is a world beater. But having said that, it's expensive, and it's pretty much always full. Oh, one other thing, you get free Wi-Fi domestically, but no Wi-Fi available at all on the international flight. If you've enjoyed this video, please now hit the like button and subscribe for those of you who have not yet converted. And for a whole lot of extra content for Formula One, merchandise and other gear, this is where you need to have a look. Thanks for watching, and stay passionate.